Grandma?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you folks today. I do represent the National Cemeteries, which we have 136 operational national cemeteries across the United States. Most folks do not really realize that. They hear Arlington National Cemetery and they think that's the National Cemetery, but there's 136 out here. And your two national cemeteries that are close to you here, actually three, they're fairly close to you here. There's Miramar National Cemetery, which is the open national cemetery with available space here in San Diego County, as well as Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery for those that may already have a loved one who's laid to rest there, a spouse. If that was unfortunate, if you have somebody that's already laid to rest there, eligible to be placed there with your spouse. There's also Riverside National Cemetery, which is now the largest national cemetery in the system. They just received a land transfer from the United States Air Force, which makes Riverside National Cemetery the largest national cemetery in the system, as well as the busiest national cemetery in the system. So those are the three national cemeteries that are available to you. What is the benefit that's available for national cemeteries? It will provide final resting place your choice. Okay. Reach out to them and start doing something called your pre-planning. Pre-planning, I deal with a lot of families on a routine basis. They come to me, they're distraught, they don't know what to do, they haven't made any plans. And so one thing I want to do is just encourage everybody to do that. You can go ahead and prepay for those costs that you would be responsible for with your funeral. That way your loved ones don't have that stress when that time does come. And then for the remainder of it, we're here for you. We're here to pick up the rest of it, to help your family out, and to make sure that your departure from this earth is done so with kindness, compassion, and with dignity. And that's what the national cemeteries are all about. One of the things that the national cemeteries have recently done, may be interested in participating in, is a pre-need eligibility determination. If there was a question of whether you may or may not be eligible for burial in a national cemetery, you can submit your discharge documents to us. There's a form to fill out. We can give you that information on where you can go to get that form, and then you send that to our National Cemetery Eligibility Office in St. Louis. Division there that will actually take a look at that and go ahead and make a pre-need determination on your eligibility for burial in a national cemetery that has open and available space. So with that, I'm going to open the time up for anybody who has any other questions for national cemeteries.
Yes, sir. Who covers, is the funeral home responsible for transportation to the national cemetery like we're out here, or is the VA do that?
No, sir. That is the responsibility of the family. That is one of the things that is taken care of. When you get to the gates of the national cemetery, everything past that, the VA pays for, okay, the federal government pays for. But everything prior to that, including your transportation, all of your paperwork, your administrative fees, the embalmment if you're going to go that way, or your cremation, casket urn, all of that is the responsibility of the veteran or the veteran's family at that point in time. So that's why I always encourage people to go ahead and do that pre-planning with the funeral home, because all that's going to be included in that cost, and you can go ahead and prepay for that. Anybody?
In November, when my dad passed away, prior to that, I had completed a form for the fire for his death. And I understand that when I called, they were so far behind on their paperwork. So are you so far behind on the paperwork?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I hate to say that they're far behind, but it could take up to 6 months to get a pre-need eligibility determination back. But that would not stop a person from being buried in a national cemetery, okay? If for whatever reason that form was submitted and they had not gotten to that person yet, my parents did it. It took almost 8 months. My grandparents about the same amount of time. But if for whatever reason you don't get that eligibility determination back, that doesn't mean the person's not eligible. You just bring that discharge document to us or to your funeral home, and we will go ahead and we will take a look at it and make an on-the-spot determination at that point in time in order to make sure that person can be buried in the national cemetery. Yes, sir.
Quick question, sir. How many personnel you guys have here in Southern California to take care of the type of veterans?
Well, we have a full-time staff of 26 people. 26 people, that's at Miramar, Fort Rosecrans. At Riverside, they have closer to 60 people. But that's it. That's what takes care of, this business that we do. We do have assistance from contractors that assist us with things like mowing and trimming of our headstones. So that would swell the staff to be a little bit larger, but it's really not a very large staff. Certainly not as large as the staff at the benefits office or at the hospital. Of course, they have a much larger job to do than, we have a big job, but their job is dealing with a lot of veterans that need assistance right now.
So if a veteran want to get buried in Riverside,
Yes.
they'll make that, you gotta make that call too, and say, well, what is it?
You'll make that call. You'll tell your loved ones, hey, when I pass away, I want to be buried at Riverside National Cemetery. And so they will go to that funeral home and they'll say, my loved one here wants to be buried at Riverside National Cemetery. They'll give your discharge document to them, and they'll call the scheduling office, and everything will be taken care of after that. Yes, sir.
I have a question about, headstone.
Yes, sir.
I understand that, or whoever will not put the life on it.
At a national cemetery, they will. Okay, your wife, if she's buried with you at a national cemetery, she will. That information will be engraved on the headstone for your wife. But if it's at a private cemetery, the benefit is only for the headstone for the veteran themselves. Okay, so they will not engrave your wife's information on the headstone if it's at a private cemetery.
Thank you.
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and hold the remainder of the questions to the end, so Dr. Smith and everybody else can go ahead and make their presentations. If you have any more questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them at that point in time. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Gary Chesterton. I'm the Assistant Director of the San Diego VA Benefits Office. So we are out in Mission Valley. I don't know how many of you have been down there. We're it's kind of centrally located, so it's a good thing. So I'm just going to make a few remarks, turn it over to Dr. Smith, and then again we'll open it up for all the questions you may have. So we've heard the horror stories in the past about how long it takes to process a claim and how veterans waited and waited and waited. And unfortunately, there was a period of time that was true. Nationwide right now, our average days of any benefit claim pending is 95 days today. So it's really coming a long, long way with a lot of automation upgrades and a lot of people. And I think that's really moved us so far forward. In our regional office, we are the 6th largest in the nation. We have a ceiling where we can have a total of 713 people. We're just about there. And the even more impressive part about that is right now, 588 of our employees are veterans. So we have about 85% veteran employees, which is, truly veterans serving veterans. So the mission and the heart is there to serve you, which is fantastic. We are responsible for the 4 southernmost counties of California. So you're looking at Orange, Riverside, San Diego, and Imperial. It's only 4 counties, but it's a huge population. As you know that we in San Diego area have the largest concentration of military in the nation. With all the bases, all the different missions that are here, it is huge population. And obviously people retire. So the retirements, a lot of them stay in these counties. So Riverside and San Diego counties are 2 of the top 11 counties nationwide for veterans. So there's a lot of people here. So we pay benefits in just those 4 counties to over 200,000 veterans. And the annual impact is $2.86 billion a year is what we pay. For Imperial County alone, there's about 2,400 veterans that we pay. And that's on par with the percent of veterans nationwide that get benefits. So you're looking at 25 to 30% of all veterans get actual monetary benefits. And in Imperial County, we pay $32.8 million a year that goes into this economy. You know, so that's what, you know, everybody's getting. So, do we want that to be higher? Absolutely. For anybody eligible, we want getting benefits. We have people who come out here once a month to do that, to help with claims, do different things with that, and we're gonna continue to do that. And we're gonna continue to try to find different ways to come out here and to connect. Because there are people that still really don't even know they're entitled. And we've got to break that barrier. So these are the things that we want to do. I mean, you know, in the year of that, you know, we want to be responsible fiscally to the taxpayer dollars. This is not an area where we're going to shortchange anybody. Our veterans have earned these benefits. You know, these are, you know, the nation's heroes. And that's who we're here to serve. With that, we'll take some questions later. I'll turn it over to Dr. Smith. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me without the mic?
Loud and clear.
I'll use my outdoor voice. As I don't want to be stuck behind the podium if I don't have to be. First, thank you for having me. It's been a couple of years since we had a town hall out here in the Imperial Valley, and I was explaining that some of that was because I spent about 8 months last year as the acting network director in Network 22, which includes Southern California and Arizona and New Mexico. And we did a bit of a virtual town hall, but I don't think we reached the right people. And my commitment is that we do spend time and come out and listen, because if we're not listening, then we're really not doing our jobs. I'll try and really allow more time for questions, but I wanted to point out a couple of documents that we left, because sometimes leaving something that you can read later is more valuable than me just talking. This is our annual report, which we just finished a few months ago, that kind of gives a sense of performance, both workload, but goals and achievements at the VA San Diego healthcare system over the last year. And I'm particularly proud of some of the things we've been able to do in the realm of healthcare quality. We are really doing a great job when it comes to the metrics of access and some of the quality measures. We have the best hospital mortality of any large 1A facility. Those are the most complex facilities in the VA system. Our readmission rates, our lengths of stay numbers are really exceeding the community standards. Honestly, that's not that unusual for a VA. If you follow some of the news stories, there was a Dartmouth study that was released not very long ago that compared metrics of access standards, compared hospital compare data, which is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services standard way in which hospitals are measured, and compared VA hospitals in different markets with the private sector, and showed that in most markets in the country, the VA is outperforming the private sector as a whole. There was also a study in JAMA not very long ago that looked at access metrics and showed that the VA as a whole is outperforming the private sector for access. And there have been many other studies along those lines. But those numbers don't always tell you the facts on the ground or how things feel. And so that's one of the reasons I want to come out and talk. I also prioritize customer service, which is really getting out and serving veterans. And that's certainly been my mantra in San Diego as well. Actually preceded the private sector for electronic healthcare records pretty much across the board, but it's getting long in the tooth and needs to be updated. My pledge is that we do it in a way that's seamless for veterans. That's something that we have to worry about internally, and you shouldn't feel change in how you get services delivered as a result of that. It will allow us more modern ways in which we can communicate, more access to different systems like texting and iPhone or phone-based applications and so forth. And that actually leads to one of his other priorities, transforming business systems to be more veteran-centric and more efficient. And then the last priority, which actually is the last in this list, the one which I wanted to leave the last to talk about, is implementing the Mission Act. many of you have been beneficiary of the Choice Act benefits for some service? So probably a third, maybe everybody. The Choice Act was an interesting focus of the VA. It was passed by Congress. There wasn't a lot of advance notice. There wasn't a lot of time to put it in place. Frankly, the VA was flailing.
How are you, sir? How you doing? Did you get it?
And you finally got it worked out, sort of. But there's still a lot of limits on it, and I know everybody is aware that the 30-day access standard and a 40-mile distance to the closest clinic or healthcare entity, not necessarily where the service is being delivered, was not necessarily. So the Mission Act provides a lot of different authorities for the VA, and it begins to pull together a lot of the community care programs into one. Just in the last month, the VA has now proposed its new access standards, which I think will actually have a large impact on how we deliver healthcare out in the valley. And those include changing from a distance-based distance-based standard for eligibility to a drive time-based standard, and that means a 30-minute drive time for primary care and mental health care. VA can meet that, veterans will be eligible to request care in the community. And for specialty care, it's a 60-minute drive time, and that means that if VA can meet that, we're eligible to request care in the community, and it is the veteran's choice. And so, particularly out here in the valley, where it's way more than 60 minutes drive time to, and I should say that it is drive time to the place where the services are offered, not to the nearest VA clinic. So, particularly for specialty care, it will mean that veterans are eligible to request specialty care in the community if they choose to do so. What are we doing? We're trying to prepare for that in a lot of different ways. One is telehealth services. Some of you may have made use of those. We have telehealth specialty care services at the clinic here in 12 different specialty areas, and we're going to be expanding that. And then the other area that we're trying to is actually get away from driving at all, which is to offer more telehealth services into the home. We're already doing that in areas of mental health and some other areas, and we're going to be working on expanding that, because if you don't have to drive at all, you get your doctor, your provider to have a Skype visit with you. And we found out through research that in many instances that is as good as or even better than healthcare that's delivered in a face-to-face visit. So as we expand that, we hope to deliver care to folks out here that way. It is still the veteran's choice whether they want to make use of telehealth services or a face-to-face visit. And so again, there will be, if these current standards are accepted, there will be a lot more eligibility for care in the community here. With Dr. Edwards, who's the director of the El Centro Regional Medical Center, here about ways in which we can continue to work together. And we've had a number of conversations in the past. So I'm looking forward to that, but it is going to change. My own priorities are veterans getting access to care that they earn in a timely way, and that it is delivered in a way that respects their service. And I could dance around a lot of other priorities and say different ways to improve the care. I will stop, and I should say, by the way, the other thing I would say is that the Imperial Valley Clinics, I think most of you have been there, we went to a new location a couple of years ago. The new clinic location is gorgeous. It really has been increasing the number of veterans that have been seen. We're now up to about 8,000 visits a year, which is a 43% increase over the last 5 years. And there are about 1,800 veterans who are under care in that clinic. And we would like to see that increase. We know that there's closer to about 9,000 veterans who live in the Imperial Valley that are potentially eligible for health care. I will stop, and we can all take questions from all of you.
Sir, can I ask you a question? Okay, I'm going to do this right now. I'm like, it's this drive. The VA wanted to have access. Okay, the first gentleman went to you, and that second gentleman, you know, everybody walked in the back. Then on to the third, you know, she told you know you need. My question is, can I use the
Veteran Court.
So the answer is that if the new standards are accepted and they're still in the proposal stage, we would be able to request special services in the community for that kind of service. It is a category of special services. What would fit under a 30-minute drive time or a 20-day accident, primary care, on that. There would be services that are offered specifically they have to be primary care. So, I would expect there to be resolution of that over the next month, it's not a long time. One of the things though that has not been finalized yet, that Congress did give VA a year to enact this Commission Act, and that started last summer. There have been treating network contracts that have been put in place on the East Coast and in the Midwest. And the current timeline for putting in place the community care network contract for the West is, I believe, in the beginning of May. So I would expect the standards to be in place about that timeframe, and then we'll be working with whoever the contractor is. And we know that the prior contract, the choice program, the Tri-West, they may or may not be. And one of the ways that the Commission Act implementation varies markedly from the Choice Act is that the VA will be responsible for scheduling for care. And so we will get away from that until then. Because I think that's been a lot of the unhappiness of the Choice Act as well, until like there's an eligibility that goes off to a contractor, they do scheduling, right, get them up and down, but a lot of the VA will consider making.
Use the light.
Yes, I'm hiding from my fellow brothers. It's in regard to the funeral. Unfortunately, a few years back, my sister-in-law passed on, and my wife and I got a funeral insurance. What, I your advice on it, what can I do now? I mean, it's already paid for.
So this is for your sister-in-law, you said, or your sister?
My sister-in-law passed away, and my wife, because of that, she told me, hey, let's get a funeral.
And was your sister a veteran?
No,
She's not a veteran. Okay, so you just have a pre-planned plan, the burial insurance to the
Yes.
funeral home, okay?
Correct.
So what you just need to do is you need to take that plan to go back to that funeral home, or any funeral home, okay, that would accept that plan and then go ahead and arrange for her burial. Yeah, just take that insurance plan and go talk to the funeral home that's gonna do her final arrangements and go ahead and arrange for her burial at that point. And they should go ahead and take care of everything.
what about my funeral purchase?
Did you
Use it?
for yours, you'll need to go ahead and get your own burial plan or your own insurance through that funeral home. They'll take care of that. Yes, ma'am.
My dad was a veteran, so what we did, my sister and I, a few years ago, bought a free plan also for him. And so we bought ours in Raleigh. And so my dad passed away in November, so we took our insurance firm to Raleigh, and they helped us with the process of my dad's burial. So you're gonna take your form that you have, wherever you purchase from which home you bought it from, what funeral home you bought it from, you take whoever, your wife or you will take that insurance form, because you already have it in file. So they'll even go over it with you, and then they'll walk you through it. That's what happens.
Yeah, these plans, just real quick, these plans that funeral homes sell, they're basically types of insurance is what they are. So it's similar to buying an insurance policy that's going to pay for your burial expenses. So those things are generally accepted at any funeral home. They'll make a claim against that policy, and that's what pays for the burial expenses. But those burial expenses are locked in at the time that you purchase that policy. That's part of the contract. So that's basically what you're doing when you have that. Now, if you don't have one, you need to go to your funeral home and work with those people there and go ahead and do your pre-planning and purchase that plan from them, for yourself. Yes, sir.
So in regard to the funeral, the service does not provide for the plot then?
It may or may not, it just depends on what was purchased at that time. You have to talk to the funeral home about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, so just to repeat, the question was, are there going to be more providers at the local VA clinic? And I think the answer to that is going to depend upon the number of veterans that are enrolled. I think it is likely that we will particularly be looking at providing more mental health services at the local clinic, because we would like to make sure that those needs are met. In the arrangement that we have with the clinic, there are specified numbers of providers based on the number of veterans that are enrolled. So there's a ratio. We will certainly adhere to that ratio to make sure that the clinic has staff. There have been a couple of times where we've gotten behind in hiring, and then that creates delays. So we are committed to making sure they've got the right number of staff on board.
Good afternoon, Carl Bradley from the Employment Development Department, Veterans Program. First, I would like to all. One of the biggest questions I have for rural purposes, my clients, for their job seekers, for several agencies. Everybody's asking what to do with regards to the choice program for emergency visits. I understand that there's an authorization that they have to call first. But they're asking what happens if they're in an accident of some sort, when they're not able to call until after they have a chance to be conscious.
So the question is about emergency care services for veterans, and that actually is not the choice program per se. It really is called the Millennium Bill or the Mill Bill. And what that bill authorizes is care in the community for veterans that have been injured in general. At the earliest time that a veteran is receiving care in the community that the VA did not already approve, they need to contact the VA, either they or the hospital that they're staying at, and describe the services that they are getting. If it's an accident, you obviously don't do that ahead of time, right? All that has to happen is that the hospital, and I know the folks at Central Regional Medical Center know this, if they know it's a veteran, they contact the VA, and then the requirement for the VA is either to transfer to the VA if there's a bed available, that often isn't, that's a distance, so if don't, but once that contact is made, the VA is responsible for services. And they will also be responsible for the emergency services that are delivered prior to the point of stabilization. And it gets kind of messy in this area because as long as that call is made as early as possible, all of those services are going to be covered by the VA. If there's a gap where there could have been a call, there may be a gap where some services are not. Does that explain?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here and now back to you.
Yes, I have a question. This is like for older veterans, stuff like that, like the ones that have like ADR syndrome, and then we did the stuff supplies like our children. Like I have a daughter that has to do like some kind of rare disease, stuff like that, and I never paid attention to take care of myself and my own disease. And now it's because I'm older, it's getting it's not getting any better. So what is something to do now that I've never processed or paperwork through? We got 18 orange, that. Because I know other veterans that have gone through it, and I know other veterans probably have kids sometimes, and they're busy their own habits, they're not taking care of business, and now they got adults, and it got worse. What's the first steps?
The first steps would be to call the VA San Diego and indicate that you want to be enrolled in the Agent Orange registry.
I am.
Okay, then the next steps would be filing a claim, and that would be Mr. Kessler.
I'm talking for a child. Now, this child is an adult now, but like I said, I was taking her home at that time. Her as an adolescent stuff, not down older. And she spends, I mean, she got paperwork when she was in fourth grade, neurologist and specialist. And I never really thought in my mind, registered to
VA that they used to do when I got older, so, but now it's kind of hit me, I'm, I'm 7 years old, and, what do I have to do to try to reverse that? What do we reactivate that, all the paperwork to the child?
And so the question is whether her disabilities or her diseases are related to Agent Orange exposure.
Okay, there's a couple of things here. One is, if you have a child that you believe is a disability or something that's happened because of a service-connected illness, then you can always apply for that. Now, one of the things is if you have a disabled child who you're still caring for as an adult, if they were disabled prior to the age of 18, you could also claim them and they could be a beneficiary on your claim. So as if they would still be a dependent and you would get paid for them as a dependent, even into their adult years, so long as that you still care for that child. You know, they haven't remarried, they've been disabled since, you said since the 4th grade in your case. So if all the paperwork shows that you're still caring for that child, they can be a dependent, should be a dependent on your award.
Okay, how about if, like, we took care of her all the time, we figured out if we get away stuff like that, so she got, she's always works, she can only work and stuff, but she does go to the doctor like that.
Okay, so in those cases where she is still living independently, she would not be eligible to be a dependent on your award. Now, as we know that the Agent Orange and the Agent Orange laws are ever changing. And right now, there's no coverage for children that issues could have happened. I mean, there's some issues with some things like spina bifida and some different things that VA does cover. But at this point, the Agent Orange effects have not been covered by law.
Okay, so what you're saying is they actually don't cover your child and he's home bound.
Correct, not for Agent Orange at this point. There are some other things that they will, like I said, spina bifida is an issue that, you know, they know can be a result of some of the chemicals or other issues that were
You're
used.
talking about the most severe, spinal bifida, that's the most severe case.
That is,
You know, you have children with monoid, stuff like that. That's the most severe case you're talking about. But I'm talking borderline.
right, if you're capable of self-care, that at this point, and you're not caring for the adult, that the veteran is not caring for them into adulthood, then they don't get, they're not eligible to be dependent on the award.
So if they're eligible, because they're 18 years old, they had this sickness all this time, and they so they could work and stuff like that, but they're supposed to go to the doctor and get, they maintain a job and stuff, that's why it takes them ineligible.
Correct, if they're capable basically of self-care. It's kind of the basic rule.
And so, like, the older they get, that disease is connected to the Agent Orange, the older they get, the sicker they get. So they just kind of just say, well, yeah, we contribute to that, but, you know, we're gonna wash our hands of it.
Well, the problem that we face, it's kind of like what we're still going through with Blue Water. So has Congress passed the bill, passed the law to say that, yes, VA is gonna cover this? I mean, we can't, generally arbitrarily just cover any conditions. It has to be somehow medically and scientifically related. Now, there are studies out there, I understand that show this. But until it's recognized by Congress and then in turn by VA, we can't do it. Looks like you want to add something?
Yes, sir. My name is Ray. I'm with the Health Benefits Department in La Jolla. I have a point of contact here, Mr. Del Willoughby, who does our environmental specialist. And if you have any questions pertaining to the defendants, he can run those questions up through his Washington DC contact. So if you want to come by, I have his information.
And that's really what it's going to take, to be honest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. My question is, I checked out my bag, out in the till, and the ring. Yes, there was a medical review. E-file, it doesn't have anything that actually finance all jacked up. Okay, carrying the total wrong, you know, 3-4 years when you were 18 and, you know, it didn't show, but now that I'm 62, that's why, so 3 parts are doing the front, rear, and side. That's why they want me to have that surgery for the back.
Right.
Going back to the, even though it's not enough fire, and I still get benefit from the back.
Okay, yes, if your record is silent of it, there's still other ways to do this. So what you would do is obviously initiate a claim. Now, what's going to help prove that claim is going to be something in the medical record, if you say it's not there. But then there's also, you know, like, what's plausible as well. So you can get buddy statements. You know, that you did this, you carried this artillery, et cetera, et cetera. You complained of back pain when you didn't go to, you know, yeah, 18 years old, nothing was wrong with it, right? And now we get her getting into that. So, I understand. So, you get some buddy statements that say you did X, Y, Z, you talked about this, you know, you talked about your back pain. And then on exam, you know, get the VA exam or VA contract exam, what would happen is you would get evaluated to see what your as-is condition is. So how are you right now? And then we'd ask for an opinion on whether or not this could be, or if it is, or most likely related to this. So, you do as best as you can, and then you make a statement as well. You know, you put into, you know, a statement saying, this is what happened, this, you know, I was artillery, and we know that in artillery, you're hauling stuff, you know, so there's some, again, there can be connections just based on that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, could you, I don't know if you want to take time or not, can you explain this, crazy pie chart that you guys brought up with your mom?
Which particular pie chart are you referring to?
Well, I don't, all the claims I've said are 140%, but you guys, they couldn't explain it. The girl showed me this pie chart, well, you're over.
VA MAC.
And,
You want to know VA MAC, right?
yeah, what is the thing?
Okay, so your individual disabilities, you can get 20% for this, need 20% for that, need 50% for your heart, you know, 80% for this, and by the time you turn around, you're 920% disabled, right? But we pay you at 90%, right? So by VA MAC, how it really works is if you get an initial disability of, say, 50%, okay, so what you do basically is you take the 50%, you look at it as how able are you. So you're 100% able, so to speak. So you start out at 100%. So you get an initial rating at 50%. So you take the 50% away, and so you're 50% disabled, 50% able. So now you get a 20%. You don't take 20%, you know, straight on top. Now it's 20% of 50%. So it kind of, you know, it cuts in because you're not still 100% able. Now you're only 50% able. So you take 20% off the 50%, which is 10% for 20%. Got it?
Well, they would ask you this. I think your criteria are unemployable. Nobody will hire me because I can't walk for a very long time. So I'm trying to be unemployable because I can't get hired. I read all your criteria, but you guys said no, and so now I gotta take it to court.
So you're appealing. So whatever, to be unemployable, obviously, you have to meet a certain percentage criteria. And you have to be able to, not be able to work because of your service-connected disability.
Correct.
So if whatever the case is, I don't want to go into anybody's personal medical. So if you meet those criteria and the doctors say you're unable to work because of X, Y, and Z, then that's what should meet the criteria. Now, I don't know in particular in your case what it was, or if the doctor said you can do X but not Y, and Z, I'm not sure. But those are really the three things that meet unemployability. So one of those has to be either missing or not articulated clearly. So what stage of the appeal process are you in?
I'm waiting for Washington DC.
Did
Can
you-
I walk? I can't hear. I don't know what to say.
That's exactly, no
Well,
problem.
hopefully it'll work out sooner rather than later. But again, it can meet those criteria. Yes, sir.
Yes, this pertains to the local clinic. A veteran gets an injury, and you know it's gonna require a specialist to look at that injury. You go, and you're thinking, well, I need to be referred to San Diego to a specialist at the VA. And they'll tell you, well, we can't refer you until you see the doctor, but the next appointment available is in April the 5th. Now what?
So the questions about specialty care referrals, and some of this, as I was saying before, will change with the implementation of the access standards under the Mission Act, which are different than under the choice program before. If we are not able to offer, the current rules are that if we're not able to offer a specialty care appointment within 30 days, you can request to be seen in the community. That's the statement now. So if you didn't have that offered to you, then somebody was not doing their job. So that's the current standards. Under the proposed access standards, the fact that the specialty care would be more than a 60-minute drive time, which is pretty much part of the course out here, would mean that you would be eligible to request care in the community regardless of the time limit standards that the VA permits. Now, one of the things that we are working to make more transparent is exactly how long it takes to wait in the community. There's an awful lot of services, especially services in the community, that you cannot get within 28 days. And what our goal is to make sure that we can simply tell veterans when we're talking to them about their options, what the wait time is in the community, what the wait time is in the VA, and they can make the choice that is best for them.
Okay, I have a question. Let's say my provider is in La Jolla, okay? It happened to me, and I have problems on these days, I got a service, from the stomach. And I called the clinic, I used to work for the clinic, that's why I don't go here no more. They refused service to me. They said you have to go to the emergency room when I was almost dying, to San Diego, to La Jolla. Then I went to the hospital over here, they refused services to me here,
Maybe I can get the specifics and look into it, because from my perspective, it shouldn't have happened that way.
And I used to go there a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure, things can happen, but I talked a little bit about access to emergent care. If you have an emergency, you should be going to the closest emergency room. If you get chest pain, if you have whatever, if you get, abdominal pain that's not controlled, you should just be going to the ER, especially for veterans. So I don't know exactly what you're holding.
Because now I'm going on there, it's right here, my first service.
If a person is on the H&R registry and they have an active claim, in, will that registry help in a favorable decision, or does it have nothing to do with anything to help with the claim?
So the question is whether being entered in the H&R registry has an effect on claims. And the answer is that the information that is developed as part of the enrollment in the registry is used to understand the claim. But the claims adjudication process and the examination is separate from the H&R registry. But it goes, you can explain it better than I can, this goes to having a fully developed claim where the information that's already present in the VA records may be sufficient to allow that claim to go forward without an examination. So you can say it better than I can.
No, you said it very well. The only thing I'll add to it is, any information, being on the registry is part of the VA healthcare, right. So anytime we're adjudicating a claim, we review all the healthcare records. So it doesn't help you get your claim approved, but it gives all more information. And the more information we have, the better.
Quick question.
Quick answer.
On the veteran cemetery. If I'm at the VA hospital, for some reason, no more John Wayne, with a VA, pay for the whole 9 yards, 30.
Well, the VA,
If you die, right?
if you die inside the VA hospital,
Yes, sir.
there is an additional benefit that the VA will pay for the processing of your remains. Okay. Usually that extends only to the cost of the cremation. I know they have a contract with a local crematory to do the cremation for you, but that's as far as it would extend.
Okay, so if I die under the VA, no one take me to the cemetery? So can we make me there?
Transportation to the cemetery?
Not to get buried, Riverside Hall, buried.
I'm not sure. I think so. I think they actually do provide, as long as you die in the VA hospital, they will take care of the transportation to the cemetery. Yeah, the contract nursing home will do it for you.
I, along with numerous other officers, have attempted to assist in getting transportation from him to go. Making doctor's appointments. And it seems that every time he comes inside, regardless of what no show. However, he continues to come out of the community. We have great communication among all of these officers, and we all agree that there's be consistent, treat, and cry out loud for help, but yet doesn't want to help himself. He will get to the point where he does become violent, and so because of that, there have been restraining orders against him to assist someone who is an adult, who is again in severe case of PTSD, who doesn't want to be helped, but yet is out of the community. And we are trying to help him because we don't want this to be a statistic. What can we do? Our hands are crossed. What are the options?
So maybe we can talk a little bit on a sidebar. I know who you were talking about, as I'm sure many of the folks here may, but I don't want to get into it's a very difficult challenge. Somebody has a problem that can be treated, and they are not taking advantage of treatment. That gets into the realm of substance use, gets into the realm of mental health issues. There has to be willingness on the part of the individual to accept treatment. Sometimes it just requires a crisis. And I agree with that. Need more than you or anybody else does. But we've got to find a way to. Maybe it's sometimes it's finding battle buddies. Working, on peer support with an individual can connect them up with. Requires certain major others reach out and connect with on a one-to-one basis. But we got to make sure that it is challenging. Don't let yourself.
Point of contact here. Prearranged. I've had things where I've had accident. My car. Or whatever. Yes, you should go to the emergency room and ask, so it's going to be covered, he said,
So the question is there a way to prearrange emergency services?
Is there someone that can actually, so it doesn't fall through the cracks, point over their name and then promote it?
What you did was the right thing, which is called a call center. Because what happens is they will then document in a medical record that all took place. The reason that they would say for 100% whether it's covered or not, although in general, anytime this call is made, I would say we end up covering an emergency. It's not 100%. The reason it's not 100% is sometimes people will go to emergency. That's where it gets a little bit hurt. But if you're going to an emergency room for emergency, and you contacted the call center and said, I need to go to the emergency room, and they said, go to the emergency room, they're not going to say on the phone 100% whether you're covered or not, but you're going to be covered. That sounds like an error on the part of the owner. What they should have done was recorded the name and get the created in the record. So if that happens again, they should ask, and I'll find out if again I get you specifics and take things away, get it away. But
Who should be the contact with them? You're ready for their small, they understand, they're going to be there to understand, knows what to do.
if you tell them that you're a veteran and that they should call the VA for authorization for care, we get those calls 24/7 around the clock, and so it would be a very unusual emergency room that did not get a hold of the VA. If you contacted the 800 number of the call center and just said, I just wanted to know, please make a note of my record that I called in about the ER. Again, it's just a documentation. It shouldn't take that effort on your part. And I'm sorry I'm not being more specific, but some of these things happens that shouldn't happen back at the we hear about it. Here is the lay person.
We have to contact the number and the consultant has to contact
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
We have to both call, as well as the emergency room.
No. The emergency room is the only one that, there has to be communication, and if the emergency room makes the call, that covers it. And then part of the problem is that it then goes to a whole other office, which is, we have a centralized building office in VA that does the adjudication of claims, and so it's not really the hospital that then does the follow-up. That's why it needs to be in the record that you made. What will happen if the emergency room calls is that, depending on a lot of things, there may be a request to transfer, there may be all sorts of things, but as long as it's documented that you went to the emergency room and it's being contacted with the VA for availability of service. Under the Millennium Bill, those are
Okay, I have a claim for many, many years. Finally, last year in September, I went in front of the judge. That was, then I never heard nothing. They gave me a different kind of forms, I didn't know nobody knows where my.
This is a disability claim?
In September, I went to see the judge.
You saw the judge in person?
No, and all that.
The video hearing? So that means you saw the judge with the Board of Veterans Appeals. So actually with the board and DC. So what happens is they work, they do the hearings, then they all get transcribed, and then it goes in docket order for them to make a decision. So at this point, it's in docket order where you can make a decision. What I can do is after we're done here, is we can take your claim number, if you want to go back to the VA table, we can get your claim number, we can find out the status of it, and then get back to you.
Okay.
Yes, I guess I represent remember my question or my comment, that's the question. I've gone several times requesting meetings with directors. Never got all the time. No, director. I don't even know the person's name, never called me back. And it's So I like that because I physically walked in and called. It's not returning my calls. It's really better than maybe I'm not doing it the right way. Maybe I'm not calling the right number.
One thing I would say is,
It's fair to assume that many people use, non-peak benefit services. Here in your area, get a bill with the office. This is aside from having government services. But is there a criteria for emergency? Kind of, told that they're going to be free. Is there a criteria?
so the question is, what emergency services? There's a little bit of a reasonable person's test here, but the answer is that cold in general is not considered an emergency service. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about earlier, which I think may address the questions that you're asking about, though, is that there is another provision in the Mission Act that has to do with urgent care services. And what will be part of the Mission Act is actually a whole other set of coverage, not emergency room care, but urgent care services, where veterans, regardless of service connection, I think will be my notes, I think it's 3 visits per year, 2 or 3 visits per year for urgent care services, through contract arrangements in the community. And so that would cover the non-emergency room urgent care. And again, one of the things that we try and do is to have property services available, urgent care services available in the clinic. And so I would hope that under the circumstances for somebody like that, both primary care and that's mostly when they come to here, I would let better than emergency.
We'll have the moment.
Did you try and get services out of this money booklet, or you just decided to try it? Well, you should have been able to have been seen in the clinic same day. We actually have medications that can be dispensed either between the pharmacies or in the clinic, so that if you want like inhalers or there's medications that are directly available, as well as contracts between the pharmacists and so. Well, we have a contract with services in the community. So a lot of that can be done in our clinic. A lot of people driving on it. Back here, because I have a question.
Okay, my question is, first of all, I don't use the VA. All medical, I do it for my own private, nobody wants to retire insurance. But what I do is I have a lot of friends. PTSD. When it first came about, the valley was, here in the valley, the numbers were trying to raise it up high, so everybody was trying to be. What you just said was, there's not enough health care to provide for the people in the valley, veterans. This contributes to why we still have such a high suicide rate among veterans.
Don't think I said that, so I'm not quite sure what you thought I said. We do have mental health care services both available in the clinic and through telehealth services. What I was trying to say is that not everybody in Imperial Valley who is eligible for services is making use of them. And so from my perspective, there's a gap in knowledge of services that are available. And the other is that we want to reach out to folks that have PTSD. There are evidence-based therapies. Some of them are actually developed by researchers in San Diego. that are available for treatment of PTSD that weren't available 20 and 30 years ago that we know work.
Let me ask you a question. If I was to file for PTSD, how long would it take for me, starting point, to get evaluated so I can see, to be considered a crisis or emergency?
We will see people the same day with mental health care needs, period. There's two questions you may be asking. One is being seen for your mental health care needs. Treated, same day. We have drop-in services, we'll connect people to telehealth services if they're not immediately available in the clinic. We have appointments that are available that can be offered. A separate question is you don't need to file a claim to be able to get health care, including mental health care. You can still file a claim for PTSD if you have not done that, but that's a different question.
That's a priority.
Okay.
Even group therapy is a treatment.
Right.
And you just referred her to the individual who refused.
But that's so don't mix
I don't want
up.
to jump on her case.
No, but don't mix up an individual who has refused services that
No, I understand
are
that.
from services.
I understand that. That's why I said, the form, group therapy is a form of treatment.
Absolutely.
My point is, getting the question is, I want to clarify. Point, I walk in right now to the VA, file for PTSD, call it a mental health issue. When am I gonna be seen and treated, right then and there?
So you don't have to file anything to be seen. If you're already enrolled for VA healthcare, and you walk into the clinic, we will make sure that you're enrolled and we will get you seen.
So you already have to be enrolled. Is that what you're telling me?
In general, you have to be enrolled for VA healthcare, but I'm assuming that you're already eligible for VA healthcare. If you are, we can see you the same day.
Okay, and if I'm not enrolled,
You can enroll in the clinic the same day. If you've got an E214, we don't see everybody off the street that says I'm a veteran. We need to confirm eligibility. But if you've got an E214, if you've enrolled, if you have other benefits from the VA, you're almost certainly eligible for healthcare. It's a very simple enrollment process. We'll go in the clinic. And again, we will get you soon the same day. Evaluate it the same day. The same day. Make sure you're
that would be considered one of the priorities.
Yes.
Priorities.
Mental health needs are priorities.
You know, they're just making it more simple here. Anyone needing help here, quicker, faster, if you need help as soon as possible, you gotta go to the lawyer, but you know, and step up to the plate.
I want to disagree a little bit. The clinic here,
It's gonna take a while, but.
well, you will get evaluated the same day. We'll make sure that your urgent needs are met. That's not the same as saying you're going to be in a treatment group the same day. We will make sure that your needs are met. We'll get you set up for care. It may be telehealth care. It may be an appointment somewhere else. It may be all kinds of different business, but your needs will be evaluated and met. And you don't have to go to La Jolla to get that initial evaluation.
Make sure that
It's only because that's where the medical center is located, so that's where the concentration of our providers are. We're providing services throughout San Diego and Cherry County. So, again, we have a clinic. I'm sorry.
what can be done for access to healthcare?
If it's an emergency, you should go to an emergency room to be able to cover that. Again, with all the caveats that we talked about, but if it's an emergency, it's an emergency. We do have same-day evaluation services in our clinic. That includes primary care needs and mental health needs. Evaluated and a plan for treatment worked out.
So my question would be this, sir. Is there a mental health technician assigned to the clinic here in El Centro?
Yes.
So there's one there 5 days a week, that's what I'm asking.
Either directly face-to-face or through telehealth services, there is somebody available for mental health services.
In other words, I wouldn't have to go to the lawyer.
No,
That's the case, that's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Remember that, both of my
So go to him if you need help. I said, go to you if you need help.
So I do want to be respectful of folks' times here. I'm happy to stick around and take questions face-to-face, and I suspect some of the others here. We do have a table from the back, but we're already 10 minutes over, a lot of time. I just want to make sure we're respectful of our time as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for guys showing up, right?
And the other thing I will say is that I'm not going to speak for everybody other, but I'm committed to doing these on a regular basis. So. You might ask, at least once.
I know we're hard.
I'd rather be out listening, here listening. I'll come talk to them.
I just want to say thank you for taking the time of coming down and helping us, answering a lot of these questions that were, made. Thank you very much.